and welcome to The What Show, a show where we dissect the ins and outs of social, economic, business and money matters of Malaysia and Southeast Asia.
Welcome back to part 3 of today's interview, where we talk about the government-linked companies in Malaysia. And this is where we ask ourselves and we try to find out more about how are they operating with the changes in government. So Faris, let's get straight to the point. We have seen over the past 2 to 3 years, we've went from the Barisan National Government to the Pakatan Harapan government and now the Perikatan National Government. How does all these changes impact GLCs in terms of their direction and the way forward?
I'm pretty sure it was a shock to these GLCs when the first change in government happened, and then when it happened again, they were just like, oh no, not again. But this was a situation that they never had to worry about before. Yeah. Because for 60 odd years we had the same government. Yeah.
Things were good. Yeah. In that sense, everything went year on year. Everything went as
same
planned.
now. Yeah. Business as usual.
Business as usual.
And the appointees to these board of directors were not really surprising choices because we knew, from the movement in politics who would be appointed to which position and so on.
Yep.
So when government changed, of course, these appointees changed as well, and to a certain extent, the performance of the companies were also affected because the key decision makers were different this time around.
Okay.
And so, these companies, moving forward, these companies need to have, say, an approach to doing business that is immune to political change. Yeah. If we cannot change the fact that there will be political appointees, we need to kind of make the business politics proof. So whatever changes happen up there, it won't affect decision making, at the management level and so on.
But that is a bit tough, you see, when you are appointing somebody who is from your regime to be there to oversee that particular GLC, whereas when you change a government, that guy's or that appointee's loyalty may not be to me. Their loyalty would be to the previous government. So then, in a way, that appointee can be labeled as, oh, he's spying on me for the old party and the new party, those kind of things. So I do understand why they feel the need to change these appointees. However, how is this going to impact the business? We have to still understand this is a business, it is running, and it should be profitable, it should be making profits. But the thing is, the people are changing as though it's literally like Game of Thrones. So with all these changes going on, it's a bit tough to find a clear view, which we all know for a business, it should be profitable, but then profitable in what sense?
How can we need to look at the voting rights of the other shareholders in the company itself. Like, how do we empower these people so that they will be able to say no to political appointees in the future? Like, there has to be a way that that we can do that. I mean, I'm just being hypothetical here, like wishful thinking.
So a check and balance to ensure transparency and accountability, so that we won't see a case of right pocket, left pocket, my back pocket, my front pocket. So everything is as reported in the annual report and the books. That is what we want to see. So that accountability and transparency. So moving forward, what is in store for GLCs now that, new boss comes in, what's next?
We have to ask ourselves the question also, how much hand-holding should we see for these companies? Like GLCs, as we know, with a substantial stake in it by the government, how much hand-holding do these companies actually need? Because they've been handheld and mollycoddled by the government ever since
probably?
Ever since the companies were established. Right?
So for over 30 odd years, more than 30 odd years-ish. Yep.
So Is it healthy for these companies to continue to be handheld by the government? Can they be competitive enough on a global stage? We're not talking about doing business in the country and doing business in the region. We're talking about doing business with the rest of the world, because Malaysia is an open trading country.
Okay, so with that analogy in mind, maybe this would shed light on how a GLC should grow. If we take the analogy of a child, you take care of your child from a newborn to a child, you really take care of it, change their diapers, feed them. When they're 5 years old, you teach them to be a little bit more independent, send them to primary school, you expect them, you still take care and handhold them, but towards a certain stage when they are in their 15 years, they are teenagers, they have a little bit of their own mindset and attitude, they go out to the world and see the world in their 20s. And then further down the road, 25 years old, they say, hey dad, I want to get married, which is in the case for GLCs, they probably want to look for a foreign investor. Let's say by 30 years old, the marriage didn't work out, they got a divorce. Hey dad, I just divorced with my wife, can I come back to stay with you? Dad would be like, no, you're a grown man, figure it out. So can we use that analogy on GLCs where after a certain year, you're expected to figure it out yourself, but you're still part of the family?
You sayang the company, but at a certain point, the company has to leave the nest. You know, you go, bye-bye, you're on your own, good luck, I love you, you know, you have to let them go. Let them go and let them grow on their own. And should they ever need the support, there will be the government to fall back on, but in terms of hands-on approach, it won't be as much.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is probably healthier for competition, because I think Khazanah they've been encouraged to sort of pare down on their shareholdings in these companies by 2030, like a 10-year plan to do so, and it will work out really good in the long term. It might hurt in the beginning, it might hurt, but these companies will recover and they will continue to perform, because that's what it's all about, like giving the best to your shareholders and stakeholders and the communities that you serve.
And also there are certain programs, if I'm not mistaken, like from Equinas, where they will have a stake in private companies and their goal is to exit after X amount of years. And they know at the end of the day, they want to take home their target is for turning that company to be a profitable company. So once that company is profitable, they know it's stable, they can cash out, they move on to helping another company. So that would be a very healthy approach, because you
like a venture cap approach.
Yeah, some kind of venture cap approach, because you go in knowing what you want at the end of the day. So if GLCs nowadays, or take the venture cap approach, that could signal a healthier returns or also a healthier management system in an organization. Who knows? That's something to consider.
And also, you know, seeing the impact of COVID, like nobody anticipated COVID or its impact on the economy. But these businesses have to be future-proof.
Yep.
When anything can happen, because now we know anything can happen, anything will happen.
Because anything has happened, everything has happened.
Yes, and it could happen again. Like change in government could happen again. Another major medical, a major health crisis could happen again.
Yep.
So these businesses have to be prepared for that moving forward.
So what happens if we are not prepared? If GLCs are not well prepared enough to weather the changes and weather through the storm?
It takes change from a management level. It takes change from a working culture kind of aspect as well. You have to start learning how to work from home, for instance, adapt your entire process to be more remote and more flexible working hours to accommodate working parents. And
I think PNB is doing that, right? They allow work from home, or they've given some kind of new program.
Yep, and some GLCs that have some childcare benefits as well, and that's really good, because we have to understand that a work-life balance is very important as well.
Yes.
And if you already prepared your company to work from home or work from anywhere in the world, should anything happen, you are prepared.
Yeah, and also while we want to say that there's a stigma of those working in GLCs enjoy a cushy life similar to the government where you can go teh tarik until 10:30 in the morning. That is not true for all GLCs. We do see some GLCs that are very, very competitive and their corporate culture is just top notch. So we have to give credit where credit is due, but we also have to see where there are places or issues that needs to be addressed. We should address that. We should not just sweep it under the carpet and say everything's fine. Do you agree with that?
Yep.
Yep. So alright, so that is all for today for part 3 of our interview, and that is to wrap up what we think is happening towards GLCs in Malaysia. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to also comment and put your questions below. Thank you so much for watching The What Show. See you soon. Bye-bye.